It's okay.
Excellent. We're back in session. Greg, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So Mike has been the DPW director for a bit. He's been with the city for a bit, not quite as long as Holly, but I think as far as Rockstar goes, I think he's also got a guitar slung around him too. So Mike, let's hear it. Play us a tune.
Thank you, Mayor. So Mike Hale, this is my 26th year with the city, 17th year as director. Certainly an honor to be put back up for a reappointment. Public Works has changed dramatically in my 17 years there. We've gone from a large department with some, questionable, professionalism to, I think, a much smaller, more professional department. We have a lot on our plate, and we have a lot in front of us coming up right now. I'm looking forward to the next 2 years, if confirmed.
Excellent. Thank you. And we'll start with Councilor Majoita.
Yes, thank you very much for you and your team. It's definitely a lot of work, and the last snowstorm showed, all the roads are salted, all the roads are clear. So thank you for that and your team. You have my support, Mike. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilor Worthley.
Thank you. So the DBW director is a position that used to change every 2 or 4 years. It's a very public position. It's easy to poke and find problems, and new mayors come in and they change them out pretty quickly. You've now worked, I think, for 4 different mayors.
Three as director.
You were on
5
Board of
total.
Health before that, right?
5 total.
And it speaks to your staying power, but not because of you being friendly, which you are, not because you're just a nice guy, which you're nice too, but you're effective. You get the job done. You take responsibility for your department. I've never seen it running as smoothly as it is right now. Also, with what feels like a skeleton crew compared to what it used to be. So I give you so much credit, and you take a lot of heat. You take it in stride. You have my full support, and I wish there was a way to put a lifetime tenure on some of these positions, but yours would be the one that I'd offer that to. You're awesome. Keep it up.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor Worthley. He's going to hear a lot of good things tonight, only because he deserves them. Again, almost 10 years, and the things that I was able to get done with infrastructure and streets and public issues on utilities would never have gotten done without the work that you've helped me with in guiding me through the process. And we've got a very successful water project going on in West Gloucester for $15.5 million. That's going smooth. The people are ecstatic over the quality of the work and how it's worked out. The communication between your staff and engineering and the contractors that you choose to do these jobs. These are a very important jobs for a lot of people. Some people may take for granted a fire hydrant, but when it's your house and you don't have water or a fire hydrant, it's a huge risk of devastation and also cost for your insurance. And help me with this project in particular was awesome. The private road betterment process has been a success, a huge success, and that wouldn't happen without you. And in the respect of time, I could go on for a long time speaking about Mike Hale, but Mike, my successes are because of your department and your guys and girls, and they work very hard, and I can't thank you guys enough for what you do for the city of Gloucester.
Thank you, Sean. And I echo the teamwork that supports me, because without them, I wouldn't be who I am.
Thank you. So we'll pass this on to Frank. We'll have the honor.
Committee recommendation move to recommend that the City Council reappoint Michael Hale as a DPW Director, term ending 2/14/27, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Mike, we'll see you next Tuesday, and thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Mike. So next up, we have V.
Right. So V is finishing the term of Adam Kukuru, who's moved down to sunny Florida. Sometimes I think that's a smart idea. But leading up to the appointment of V, and since then, every veteran I've spoken to has given her high marks, and I've witnessed it firsthand how great of a job she does and how dedicated she is to that position. So it's with my full support that I have her today for reappointment.
Thank you, Mayor Verga. V.
Good evening, B. Chipperini, Director of Cape Ann Veteran Services. I have been in the role for over 5 years, not as director. First, once Lucia retired, I took over her role as the benefits coordinator. And as the mayor had mentioned, took over my predecessor's position once he moved down to sunny Florida, I guess. We oversee 5 communities. So although Gloucester is our home base, we also service veterans for Rockport, Manchester, which was part of our original region catch area. And then recently, within the past 2-3 years, we picked up Hamilton and Wenham as well.
Excellent. Thank you, V. So we'll start off with Councilor Worthley. Any questions?
Thank you, V, for coming before us tonight.
Thank you.
I've had the honor of knowing all of the veterans directors back to Fred Ritvo. I think your building is named after, actually, on Emerson Ave. Whenever you take over a position from someone who really set the bar high like Adam did, there's the risk of not being as good or not doing as well just because he did so well. And you really have turned that around in the sense that you raised the bar even higher. And every veteran I hear from talks so glowingly about the services that you're providing. You really should feel good about the work you're doing and your team, which I think is just the 2 of you, right? And you're, yeah, it's impressive how much you get done with just 2 people. So you have my support tonight and always. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Worthley. Councilor Majota.
Jeff Worthy said it, great. I see it every, at least once a month. And when I talk to the guys down there, they have nothing but nice things to say about you. Everything's running so smoothly. So you have my support 100%.
All right, V. I talk to a lot of veterans. I have a lot of customers that are veterans. They're in a very good place on Cape Ann. And a lot of them specifically say that they seek you out for speaking to you, talking to you about things that they wouldn't talk to other people, and feel very comfortable dealing with you and your issues. Adam did a great job, there's no doubt. But I do have probably 10 or 15 people that have said specifically that they can sit in a room with you and unload what ungodly things I don't want to know about. And I can't imagine what they're going through. And you guide them through to help and also support. And in a world where everything's been hectic and it's upside down, we have to remember that we have a lot of veterans that are younger. They're mostly in their 30s and 40s now, coming back from some of the issues in the Middle East. And it's not warfare that people understand. And the only people that can understand are people like yourself that have been there. And the mayor can't do anything about this. I can't do anything about this. I think there's no one on the council that can do anything. It takes someone to get someone to open up that has been involved in a situation. And for that alone, what you do with where you've been, and God bless you, is the best thing that can happen to our younger veterans. The older veterans helping out with the younger veterans is awesome. Your Friday morning coffees and breakfast. But specifically, I've had a lot of people talk about what you do. And I don't need to know what you are doing and what you do, but they're happy with it. And I totally support you. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll pass this on to Council Worthley.
Committee recommendation is I move to recommend the City Council reappoint Vianette V. Chipperini as Director of Veteran Services, term to expire 2/14/2027. And I I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. V, we'll see you next Tuesday, and thank you again for all you do for the city and its veterans.
Thank you.
Next up is the building commissioner. I think his name is Robert Vickery. Is that what it is? Robert Vickery?
Wow, that's terrible, Sean. I'm proud to put forward Robert Vicari for Rob for his full appointment. We have been with acting / interim building commissioners for nearly 2 years, and turns out we had the perfect candidate right here in house. And Rob has really stepped up, to look to revitalize the department. He brought to you some fee changes recently, and I'm really proud of the work he's been doing. And so with that, I'd like to ask Rob to step forward and tell a bit about himself.
The mic is yours, Rob.
Thank you. So I've been the building commissioner since April. I've been working for the city since 2021 as a local building inspector. We've had some major changes come the first of the year and just taking everything one stride at a time. Any questions?
Excellent. And we'll start, I believe, with Councilor Majota.
I feel like we were just here for your appointment. It flew by. It's funny. No, Robbie, you've taken this position. You became a leader in the community. There's a lot of changes, and you and your team are adapting very well and making sure people are aware of what's going on, and definitely the council, so we can let our constituents know. I find that to be very important. So thank you. You have our support.
Thank you.
Councilor Worsley.
Hey, Rob, thank you for coming before us today and for really leading your department. I don't think people probably have a sense as to how much comes through your office. The few times I've been there, it's a blur, and I'm just, as a customer, sometimes it's just a blur how much goes through your office. And the fact that you maintain it all and keep track of it. And again, your position, much like a couple other positions here, you have to be the bad guy sometimes and tell someone you're violating an ordinance, you're violating this regulation. But I also appreciate that you work with people and try to help them figure out what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and some corrective work. It's not my place to advise you, but I would also just suggest that if you need help, as in more people on staff, speak loudly to the mayor, to us, just because there's a lot going through your office. And I admire how much you're juggling as well as you are. So you have my full support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Worsley. And obviously, it's Rob Vicari. I was only doing that in fun because I've known him for about 30 years. Rob, you came to us from the profession of being a carpenter and being a manager in different companies with carpentry and construction. When you get a job with the building department, I was so happy for you. Your knowledge has surpassed what I ever thought you were capable of. You moved up.
Thank you.
But through many conversations and different issues that I've worked with you, there is no doubt in my mind that again, almost going on 10 years, you're probably the best building commissioner that we've had. Realistic, you treat people with respect, your office answers calls, they respond to people. There's no gray areas, and the law is a law, and you treat everybody the same. There's no favoritism. There's no, I'll let you get by with something. It's either right or wrong. In your job as a building commissioner, it's for public safety. It's not about profit or friendships. It's to make sure that when someone walks into someone's house that had an addition, they're safe. When we open up the police department, the courthouse, it's safe. If something's going on in any public buildings or private buildings, it's safe. And it's a very important job that a lot of people get angry about, but you're doing a great job with it. The contractors are happy. I'm happy. I'm not fielding calls about the building department, and that makes me happy. You're doing a great job, Rob. And again, I couldn't be more happy to support you.
Thank you.
And I'll pass this off to Frank. We're conserving paper.
Committee recommendation, move to recommend that the city council reappoint Robert Vicari as building commissioner, term ending 2/14/27, and I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. Rob, we'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you very much again. So next up, we have the Director of Elder Services, Elise Sinagra. Mayor Verga, the floor is yours.
Right, as I mentioned in the intro, this position, the job description changed a few years ago, and there seemed to be an oversight as to how it would be handled for appointment. So we are here, even though I think the new ordinance gives, is supposed to be for the next hire, you know, with Elisa's support, we are bringing her forward for an appointment to her first full term as the Elder Service Director. Anybody who's been there, I there frequently. Every month they have a great party, depending on what the holiday is, and the Rose Baker Senior Center is running very well. I see a lot of happy customers there, i.e. our seniors here in the city of Gloucester. So I'd like to bring Elise up to talk a little more about herself and what's going on down at the senior center.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Verga. How you doing, Elise?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We can't complain, but we'd love to hear you for a little bit.
I don't know how you're not like shivering like me, but I'm a wimp, so I guess that's that. But very happily, I will be celebrating my 5th year as Director of Elder Services this July. It continues to be just the honor of a lifetime to be in that position. We have a great team down there. We're small, but we're mighty, I think, in terms of the impact that we have on people's lives, very real impact. The team is great. The Council on Aging Board of Directors that I just enjoy working with them so much. They're just a bunch of great people that are very committed. So that's outstanding. And every person that's talked already and will talk tonight, I enjoy a great relationship with too. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Elise. And then we will start with Councilor Worthley.
Good evening, Elise.
Good evening. How
Thank
are
you for coming.
Counselor?
How are you doing?
Good.
It's nice to see you. I know last year there was a little tumultuous period where I think a former councilor wanted to have your position come before us in this regard. I don't think it's anything you need to sweat or worry about because you have my full support, and I'm sure the rest of my colleagues, you do amazing work. And, you know, it's a tough position. You do it very well. You're impacting people's lives in a positive way all the time. So thank you for doing that. Feel free to talk to us if you need help with anything. I'm not yet a senior, and I was told I'm not allowed to come in if I'm not a senior. I changed that policy, that if you serve in the public sector, maybe you're allowed to participate a little bit more, because I can play cribbage pretty well, actually. So I'd love to join you.
The cribbage players would love to hear that. And we are 60 plus or 50 plus if you self-identify as a person with a disability. We don't ask what the disability is. So
I'm not 50 yet either, so I might look at it.
I suspected you were not 50 yet, Councilor Worthley, but
you.
but you know, we're all aging, so eventually you'll be ours. We'll get you down there.
Okay, thank you. It's just because they don't want me to play cribbage against them because they'll lose, but hold on. Sorry.
Councilor Majota.
Elise, you're doing great work down there. Just, you know, seeing a lot of the seniors and yourself at least once a month. Everyone just seems so happy down there. They're enjoying themselves. It's a real community down there. So everyone really gets along. They all have their little groups. It's just amazing to see, and it's a lot of work what you do. So I appreciate everything you do, and you have my support 100%.
Elise, the senior center is one of the hearts of the city. We have many hearts, but that's a very important heart for our elderly. People grow old, thank God. And the better the life is and the medical attention, the longer they're around. The activities that you do, the Monday message, the things that are going on, you have a great building full of vibrant people that just want to help people live with a little bit of color and culture. And it's very important that we include people as much as we can. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people that would love to be there, just still don't understand how they can be there. And there's plenty of people that you'd love to be able to connect with, but it's just impossible because some people don't have the means of not being on a computer or being up and involved and getting to committees and doing different things. But every step that happens in that building is one more step that someone may not have had if you weren't there to offer it to them. And that's what's important to the people of Gloucester and our seniors, is that there is an opportunity and you're in a role that makes a difference, not just to the elderly, but to the people that are the family to the elderly. The person working at home with a couple of children, maybe a single mom, but their parent is hurting and needs something to do during the day, and they can't fulfill that. And what you can do with that person to give them some sort of meaning and getting out of bed in the morning and having a place to go and a purpose in life is something that I'm finding out more valuable every day in my own personal life with my father. And I can't thank you and the mayor enough for having this opportunity for all of us in that room to have a place to go or for our family members to have it. And I wish there was a ton more that we could do financially, but what you're doing is wonderful. And the people that get to enjoy your hard work every day makes it different for a lot of families in the city of Gloucester. And I want to thank you personally for that, Elise.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Thank you.
And Councilor Worthy would like to have one more question.
Thank you. I didn't mean to end on a question. We just gave that real awesome recognition. Is there something that we as counselors could do where we all have our own networks to help you spread the word to the people who aren't coming to the senior center that could? And the example I'll give you is my 84, he's passed away now, but at one point my 84-year-old grandfather said he would never go to the senior center because that's where old people go. And he was 84 when he said it. So there's a group of people who have that stigma that we might be able to help undo a little bit to show it's actually a place where people are living well and actually in many ways living a younger life by participating. So is there something you would suggest that we could do to be helpful in spreading that word?
You know, I think just remembering that and thank you for that question. That's such a great question. And that's what keeps me, that's what I'm always thinking about. What about the people that don't go there? And there's just too much stigma attached to the word like senior. So I think that's an issue that I've been brainstorming some with the Council on Aging Board, some potential solutions to that. But I think just the old adage that the best advertising is word of mouth. I mean, if you can try to, if people can understand that we're having fun down there, we're having fun. And that's what I always try to say to the staff is that when we're doing this thing that's fun, always remember that fun thing is what is that's building trust. Because then that senior who's just maybe comes down because we have fun parties, they now trust the staff. They know the staff. Then when something really difficult, a big hurdle that they have, then they feel like they know these people, that they can go upstairs to the office suite and they can sit down and get some help with some of the very difficult parts of aging. So, but I think that we, to try to lead with the fact that that we're just down there, we're having a good time. We've got something for everybody. We're trying to help people to age well, to stay active, to keep moving, to have good nutrition. We've got great community partners. We work so much with the Open Door, which was just fantastic. But I think just that word of mouth, that like really, to get that newsletter, just get the newsletter coming in the mail. And maybe if somebody doesn't think they can bring themselves to come down to the senior center quite yet, they could probably maybe bring themselves to just get a piece of mail in the mail that then they could see all the cool things that we're doing, and maybe something will entice them someday to get down there. And maybe just encourage them to try to find somebody that does go there and talk to them about what it's like down there. And then the other thing too is to just let people know that the staff, and I always talk to the staff about this, that the most important person to me is the person who's there for the first time, to make sure that they come back and that the staff is completely devoted to that, to making sure that, like, I always think about that first day of school when you come out of the lunch line and you spit out into this big room full of people, and that moment of terror when you have your lunch tray and you don't know who's going to say, come sit with us. You know what I mean? Come sit with us at the senior center. Someone will say, come sit with us. And we will make sure of that as staff. So, yeah.
Committee recommendation, move to recommend that the city council reappoint Elise Singer as Director of Elder Services, term ending 2/14/27, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Absolutely.
All right, so the yeas have it. We'll see you next Tuesday night, and thank you very much, Elise, for everything you do for
Excellent.
us.
Thank you, Counselor.
All right, next up, we have one of the other hottest working people in the city of Gloucester, Nancy Papos. Mayor Verga, the floor is yours.
Yeah, a couple closing thoughts on the senior center. I think we have
Please.
the new bumper sticker, come sit with us. But also, thank you for giving me thanks for that. But the thanks goes to Elise, her staff, the volunteers, the Council on Aging, and for over 3 decades, we had the Friends of the Council on Aging. So that's where the credit belongs, not with me. So Nancy Pappas she doesn't have a high-profile job, but she certainly has a high-profile function. She's the one who's setting tax rates or advising us on tax rates. And property tax is always a sensitive issue. I remember from my days on the council, every certain time of the year, we get a lot of calls from people after they got their new tax bills. And I'm sure all 3 of you have as well. But Nancy does it very well. She does it with grace. She's very good with the residents who go in there and talk to her, and she answers questions and provides the information that they need. But let's hear it right from her mouth. Nancy.
Thank you, Mayor Verga.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Pappas, Principal Assessor. I am in my 29th year with the city. I've been the Principal Assessor for 20 years. And as the Mayor discussed, we're responsible for valuing all real and personal property in the city, as well as the quarterly billing, and are highly involved in submitting the recap to have the tax rate approved each and every year. We also administer motor vehicle and boat excise, real property and personal exemptions. I have a great team. There are 2 other assessors, 1 assistant assessor and 2 clerical staff, many of which have similar longevity to myself. So we've been a good team for quite some time.
Excellent. Thank you, Nancy. And we'll start with Councilor Majota.
Nancy, it's been a great pleasure working with you, and you advising or giving us this information. Prior to council, I really didn't know much about any of this. I just usually just paid the bill and moved on, but it's great to have an understanding on how and why you do things. So I just appreciate your hard work from you and your team. Thank you.
Councilor Worthley.
Nancy, I've had the honor of knowing you for all of your years of working for the city. My first job was as the mail clerk 29 years ago. And I think that's when you started in the assessor's office. I used to always think, what job, if that person didn't do their job, would just crush the entire city? And I think that could be said for anybody in that team over there. But if we don't have that part of the job done, we don't have assessments and bills that go out for taxes that then fund everything else. And it's really a critical role. You've really worked well with our auditor, especially with the recap, and appreciate the work that you and Kenny do together on that. You've been a professional for every single year that I've known you, and we'd be lost without you. So I'm grateful for you, and I just want to strongly recommend you again.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Worthley. Nancy, it's been a pleasure working with you for this whole term. I remember when I first came in, I had a million questions about how this worked. I thought I was going to find $1,000 toilet seat somewhere in a budget, and how the assessors all worked. You've given me great knowledge into how this works, and a lot of people have issues, or they want to do an abatement, or they're an elderly looking for relief. And I can say that you make it easy for people to pay their bill. And you're fair. Your whole team is wonderful. When I read the minutes from your meetings, and when you guys speak to us about the tax levies or things, there's nothing left for us to ask after you tell us what's going on and show us. And your dedication, your work in this building, I see you leaving late at night, and it's not Thursday. When we're here for meetings, you're here doing your work, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And the city of Gloucester is lucky to have you, and I want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
And with that being said, we'll go to Council Worthy.
Committee recommendation. um, let's see, Move to recommend the city council reappoint Nancy Pappas as assessor, term to expire 2/14/2028, and I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Nancy, thank you very much, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you. Next up, Mayor Verger, will be Christopher Lucido. And I'll
Yes,
be right
as
back.
I say, last but not least, we have Chris Lucido. You'll recall we had some difficult times last year at the Harbor Master's office, and we had John, where'd he go? Oh, sorry. I looked up and he was gone. And then you remember John McCarthy stepped in an interim basis and helped us out. And then again, as I mentioned, with Rob being within the department to surprise us as a great candidate. Same thing with Chris, who was one of our seasonal workers in the Harbor Master's office. And he's been there for a few months, and I think he's doing a terrific job. And I'm very pleased to put him forward for his first full term. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to the Harbor Master.
Hi, I'm Chris Lucido. I've been with the Harbor Master's office as an assistant for almost 15 years. Excuse me. I was appointed in July as Harbor Master, and here I am.
Thank you, Chris. Council Worthy, would you like to say a few words and questions?
Yes, Chris, welcome back. Thank you for taking, first of all, thank you for everything, but also taking over during a tumultuous time. I would say it was fair seas, is the right phrase. It was pretty calm in that transition because of your leadership. I think people don't understand your role completely, right? You have law enforcement authority on the water. You have permit granting authority when it comes to Chapter 91 licenses. A lot of people don't even know that. Responsibility for all the moorings, for the transporting, what is it called when you bring all the visitors back to shore, and for public safety. And it's really a dynamic position, and I can't think of anybody better to do it than you. You become a friend to the council and to the city and to me, and I appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Chris.
How you doing tonight, Chris? Good. So first, I do want to mention that in between the situation, Mayor Verga did reach out to John McCarthy to come in and temporary fill the Harbor Master's office. John did a great job, in my opinion. There was a lot of things that happened around me with the Magnolia Pier that he was very attentive to and did a good job. And going through this and speaking to a lot of different people, a lot of your employees that you have for you now, were very unclear on where they wanted to be. They didn't really know what was going on, what happened. They were relatively happy with Gladys Stowe. But after they got to know that you were going to be part of this, it really brought them together. And I've said it before, your launch operators are spokespeople for the city. They help people, guide them. It's like a taxi cab driver, but a taxi cab driver in England, where you have to go to school and you have to learn and you have to know people where to go and how to get there. And they are a representative to the whole world to us. And it may be simple as where we go, we're looking for a good piece of tuna. Well, you want to go to Tono. We're looking, for some live entertainment. Well, you want to go to Blue Lobster, or you want to go to Gloucester House. They're up to what they want to do. And then also on the physical parts of your job, you're always a hard worker in that department. You always worked on the piers. You were a craftsman, and you were a hammer to a nail. And now you're in responsibility where you're working as an executive. But the guys respect you as a leader because you've done their job, you continue to do their job, and you're going to work with the people, and everything is going smooth. So I'm very happy with you, and I'm proud to appoint you tonight. With that being said.
I'll make it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's right. I feel like we were just here again, like you and Robert, it's just a few months ago. Just following up with my other fellow counselors, you're doing an amazing job. It's gonna be good to see you within like a full year of, in this role and to see what uni team can do. And now you're going to be sort of preparing for spring and summertime rather than just being thrown right into it. So it's good to see what uni team can do, and you have my support.
Committee recommendation is, I move to recommend that the city council reappoint Christopher Lucido as harbor master, term to expire 2/14/2028, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
The ayes have it. Chris, thank you very much. We'll see you on Tuesday night, and thank you.
Thank you.
And again, everybody that's here tonight, lines is at the back of the room to swear people in. So after we go through this, you can stop by and see him, and he'll sign you all in. Mayor Verga.
How do you want to handle the new appointments, Mr. Chairman? You want to just bring them up together? And do we know if John Harris is, I don't see him in the room, is he online?
I don't see John Harris. John is someone that has been affiliated with the city for a long time, with the DPW, and I feel confident with him moving forward, and I'm sure he can be sworn in later.
Okay.
So if we want to start with the reappointments, or do you want to start with?
Well, we got the three new appointments, so we can start with Kate Parsons, who is currently on the Open Space and Recreation Committee, and this is her appointment to be the representative from that committee to the Community Preservation Committee. So, Kate, step forward.
How you doing, Kate? You just want to give us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm already on the Open Space Committee, and the CPC needs a representative, and apparently I'm a glutton for punishment, and so I have signed up for that as well. I live in East Gloucester. My passion is open space, but I'm also interested in historic preservation, and I think affordable housing is top of mind for all of us these days. So I think the committee work will be really interesting for me.
Excellent. Thank you, Kate. We'll start with Councilor Majota since I forgot him last time.
No worries. Kate, just thank you. One, for volunteering. This is your time. This is what you want to do in your own personal time. And I'll be saying this to a lot of people here, that the city can't run without these boards and commissions. They're essential to the community. So I just want to thank you for stepping up, and you have my support.
Councilor Worthley.
Yes, Kate, thank you for your hard work on the Open Space Committee. I know that there's a representative from the Open Space Committee on the Community Preservation Committee, but nonetheless, even though that should be a simple appointment, this is still another job to take on. I work very closely with the Community Preservation Committee through the Budget and Finance Committee. They vet all of the projects before they come to the City Council, and it's hard work, and I know you're up for it, and you're joining a great committee, so you'll enjoy them, and I'm sure they'll appreciate your work too. Thank you.
Councilor Majota. Oh, sorry. Katie, thank you for stepping up as always. You have a great voice of passion for the city of Gloucester, and I won't hold it against you that you live in East Gloucester. That's fine. But we're lucky to have you. And with that being said,
Committee recommendation, move to recommend that the City Council appoint Kate Parsons to the Community Preservations Committee, term ending 2/15/28, and I so move.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on Sunday, and if, sorry, next Tuesday, and if you can just check out with Lynn's lines. Next up, we have Emily Oliver, Mayor Verga.
So I just got a text from Councilor Gross saying people need to speak directly into the mic. They're having a hard time hearing them remotely. So as you come up, please do so. Traffic Commission, we have the chairman, Bob Ryan, here tonight. And one of the positions, John Harris, we talked about, there is a DPW appointee is supposed to be on the board, and I believe there's been an absence for a while in that position. But so John, hopefully you guys can still move forward with him. And Emily was recruited by the chair, and I'm glad she's here. Emily, a lot like her father, I think many of you know her father, Ringo Tarr, they are involved in so many volunteer activities, and this is just one more to add to all of her free time. So Emily, would you mind stepping forward and telling the committee about yourself?
And before that, I'd just like to announce that we do have Council President Gross here as well. Emily, the floor is yours.
My name is Emily Oliver. I'm a lifelong resident of West Gloucester. I was approached by Mr. Bob Bryan about joining the Traffic Commission, and I thought it was a good way to get more involved in the community.
Excellent, thank you. I thought maybe Steve Aiello would ask you if you do this, being from West Gloucester and all.
I don't think that we are allowed to put up no Steve Aiello signs in West Gloucester. So it was Mr. Ryan.
Excellent. I believe we're starting off with Councilor Worthley on this one.
Emily, thank you for volunteering yet again. I almost wonder, it'd be easier to pick your slow time of year when you're not actively involved in something. It's probably like February 29th or something, a day that doesn't always exist. I appreciate you stepping up. I appreciate Mr. Ryan recruiting you. That alone is a recommendation without even needing any testimony on your behalf. But I look forward to your contributions. The Traffic Commission is advisory to the council and to the mayor. I've also at different times invited the Traffic Commission to share their ideas, because I think lots of times you feel a little boxed in where you're waiting for the council to suggest something for you to advise on, versus you drive in the city, you walk in the city, you know where there are intersections that could be improved. So I just want to always encourage you to reach out to us to say, hey, have you looked at this, or can you look at this, so we can put something forward for your review. Look forward to your contribution again. Thank you.
Councilor Majota.
Emily, thank you for stepping up. The Traffic Commission is a very important commission. I think, as a ward councilor, I feel like talking to the Traffic Commission, whether it's a no park, it's just, there's always something that we need to do. So I appreciate you stepping up, and if Bob Ryan recommends you, then you got my support.
Emily, I don't know how you're going to find time.
Not sure.
You're a full-time worker. You're an owner of an auto repair shop. Between the fireworks, the concerts on the boulevard, the blues festival, the mayor's Halloween festival, the Christmas tree lighting, there's so many things that you directly have been involved with. Your mother and father have done so much for the city. God bless your mother's soul. She's awesome. Ringo is synonymous with anything to go on the city. And I can go on further with your uncles and everything they do. But you yourself, you've made a part of the city yours, and you've done so much in your circle to keep things going and make things happen that bring pure enjoyment to everybody. And the fact that you're willing to sit down and meet, with the Traffic Commission to try to make things better for people for handicap parking. Sometimes it's simple. You may have a bad day, you go into a meeting, you grant someone a handicap permit, and a sign goes up, and you'll feel better about it. When we're looking to solve problems with traffic congestion, with turning one way on a street or a one-way road, or no parking, or speed limit, these are all things that come down to your lap, and you're going to be responsible for them. And I'm happy knowing that you'll do the best you can with an actual mind that has common sense and won't get convoluted in mathematics, and just look at a situation, say, I can see that if we can do this and not that, this is going to be better. So I'm ecstatic that you're stepping up to your first city committee, and I'm sure it's not going to be your last stop on your career of civics. I can see it coming. Thank you.
Thank you, councilors.
And with that being said,
Committee recommendation, I move to recommend Emily Oliver to the Traffic Commission for the term to expire 2/15/2027, and I so move.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, excellent. Emily, if you could see lines on the way out to get sworn in, and then we'll see you again next Tuesday, and thank you again very much.
Great. Thank you, counselors.
So we are going to do John Harris. Mayor, would you like to say something about John, or?
John is our kiosk czar. He's the guy out there that's finally cracked the code. Very dedicated to his job and the perfect fit for the Traffic Commission. So Mike Hale had recommended him when I asked for an appointee from his team. So he has my full support.
Excellent, thank you. John's not here. I know you know John Harris. Do you know John Harris, Frank?
If the mayor and Mike Berger and you guys recommend him, then he has my support.
Excellent. So I'd like to have a motion from Councilor Majota.
Committee recommendation, move to recommend that the city council appoint John Harris to the Traffic Commission, term ending 2/15/27, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. John is approved to go to full council, and we'll let him know. So next up, we have boards, committees, commissions, reappointments. And the first one would be Lewis Hamilton on the Archives Committee. Mayor Verga, the floor is yours.
Yep. So, Counselor, I think we'll be here till tomorrow morning if we continue at this pace. But with your permission, I'd like to just say their names, talk about what they do, and then if you could address it.
We can definitely do it as consent.
Because they all had their chance at the mic when they first got appointed.
Yeah, we can all do this as consent.
So let me just talk. First of all, there's roughly 30 names on this list of appointments, reappointments, and the 3 new appointments. That is, and you'll be getting another batch for your next week, your next meeting in a couple of weeks. That's just a snapshot of the hundreds of people who were involved on boards, committees, and commissions who are all volunteers, from the City-Owned Cemeteries Advisory Committee up to the more high-profile things like the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals. But I want to give my thanks to all of them who put their time in, and really the city owes a debt of gratitude to them. So the Archives Committee, I'll just say, you recall we had the fire here at City Hall about closing on 2 years ago, and they were displaced for many, many months. We've set them up with a new spot down there in the basement at City Hall, and they do great work. When I had my trip up to New Gloucester this summer, they helped do a lot of research for me, and I'm proud of the work. So I would ask that you support their reappointments. We have Lois Hamilton, Elaine McIsaac, Susan Roberts Wright, Danny Hodge Stotzer, sorry, Danny, and Sandra Williams.
All right. I make a motion for them to be all reappointed. The dates are all the same as 2016. To February 16, 2028. And I so move.
Second. On the motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Everybody on that list, you could check in with lines at the end of the committee. And thank you all again for
Thank
signing
you.
up again. And I'm sure that you're happy that we're moving it along a little bit quicker this way. But
Thank you.
You're all doing awesome work for the city. Thank you. And next up will be the board, the next group that you'd like to do.
What we have next is from the Board of Health. We have Joe Rosa, who's the chair. And I know I just said, let's try to move this along, but I think if we could have Joe come up, and he could also talk about the next appointment, which is it's a relatively new committee, the Biosafety Committee. So if Joe could tell a bit about, Joe's done a great job as our chair for the last, I guess, the 3 years I've been here, and if not, right, started chair just before I became mayor, but wonderful work. So if you could talk about your role on the Board of Health, and then maybe give a preview of what the Biosafety Committee is about, so we can bring up that.
Councilors, Joe Rosa, Chair of the Board of Health. Before I say a few words about Dr. Tony Quinn, I'm sure you're all aware that over the past couple of years, there's been a certain amount of upheaval, to use a pointed word, in the department. that has, because of the people that have been hired since then, that has totally changed. The department is now, I would put them up against any health department that I'm aware of. They've done a spectacular job, largely due to Dominique Hurley, who has really energized the group, hired excellent people, and really taking on new avenues that haven't been explored in the department before, making the department really excellent. And hopefully they will continue to win the support of the city and do even more in the future. Part of what new has happened in the department is that the board has envisioned, perhaps a little bit prematurely, but nonetheless envisioned, that one of the things that would invigorate jobs in Gloucester is bringing biotech to Gloucester. And we have done our first step in that in bringing the Gloucester Marine Genomics Institute to Gloucester, as well as the Biotech Academy. And I'm very proud that those things are thriving. We've yet to bring new companies to Gloucester, but I think that will happen in the future. And in doing so, what we want to assure everyone in the city is that their health and safety is being protected. It is protected at the federal level by NIH guidelines. However, we want companies to feel assured that if the citizenry of Gloucester is uncertain as to how their safety is being protected, they don't have to go to the company. They can come to a subcommittee of the Board of Health, of the Health Department, and get those answers. And so that committee was established some time ago, and we're now actually implementing it. And one of the new members of the committee is Dr. Tony Quinn, who will bring a great deal of expertise to that committee.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Joe. Is there any questions for Joe? We'll start with Councilman Rizzuto.
You have a very important role with the Board of Health, so I just appreciate what you and your team do in making sure that everyone is safe in Gloucester, and you have my support.
Thank you.
Worthley.
Yes, first, thank you, Joe, for coming for us tonight and all your years of service to our community. You excel in your role as a chairperson of the Board of Health. My only question, I have no questions about you and your performance and continuing in that role. Do we need to set up, like the subcommittee, does it need to be set up by ordinance? Right, the Board of Health has the authority to create its own subcommittees, but as far as the council having to appoint people to it, do we need to create an ordinance change to make this a lasting committee?
There is a, I don't know if it's called an ordinance, perhaps somebody can help me as to what the board has promulgated a regulation, I guess is the term. And in that regulation, it calls for this committee to be established. I don't know, I'm not familiar with the other rules and regulations as to what feedback the council needs to have on that.
Right, and just to be clear, I'm not at all trying to hold it up. I want to make sure that going forward, if this is a sustainable position that we want to keep appointing people.
Absolutely, sure.
That would do it the right way continuously. So I'd be okay with, I guess, making a motion to support both you and the other appointee, but pending the just certainty on creating an ordinance to have this commission established. I see the mayor. Right.
Yeah, I don't recall if it was regulation or an ordinance, but it did call for council to confirm the appointments. We'll double check.
Thanks. So I'm okay with moving forward with him as well until we figure that out.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I make a motion.
Worthley. Joe, I just got to say that through COVID, you could tell me it's sunny out right now, and I'm going to say it's sunny. So if it's good for you, it's good for Gloucester. You guys have done wonderful work. I feel safe with everything in our environment, our water, health, the nurses that are supplied to the city. So I'm with you on whatever you want to do. Thank you. With that being said, for Joe Rosa, it's up to Council Worthley.
Let's see, where are we? All right. Any recommendation? Move to recommend that the city council reappoint Joseph Rosa to the Board of Health, term to expire 2/16/2028.
Second.
And I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Joe, thank you very much, and your full appointment will be next Tuesday. Thank you. Mayor Verga.
So if Dr. Quinn could just sort of give a wave to the committee, so.
Good evening. My name's Dr. Anthony Quinn. I've been a resident of Gloucester for 12 years. I'm trained in medicine and in molecular biology. I'm an MD, PhD. I have a good understanding of molecular genetics and recombinant DNA technology. And I'm looking forward to helping the Board of Health with the assessment of new activities that happen in Gloucester related to the biotechnology industry. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. We'll start with questions from Councilor Majota.
Dr. Quinn, with your expertise and your experience, I feel like you'd be a perfect fit for this committee. So thank you.
Council Worthley.
Thank you for volunteering, Dr. Quinn. I just want to be clear, my questions about establishing this commission or committee have nothing to do with my reflecting at all on your capabilities and your competency. I'm very impressed with your resume and what you're trying to do. So keep up the good work, or good luck getting it started, and you have my full support. Thank you.
Dr. Quinn, thank you for stepping up. This is something new and exciting, and I hope it works out well for the city of Gloucester. And without people coming in with new ideas and how to help us sustain ourselves in other industries, this is wonderful, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
With that being said,
Committee recommendation, move to recommend that the city council reappoint Dr. Anthony Quinn to the Board of Biosafety Committee, term ending 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second, just a friendly, I think you said reappoint, but it's appoint, because this wouldn't be a
I just read the
it's an
paper.
appointment, yes.
It's an appointment. My apologies.
All those in favor?
It says reappointment. That's
Yeah, can I
correct.
explain? I was at sea last year for 2 months, so I was appointed, but I wasn't able to be here.
So it's a reappointment. Excellent.
Oh, I just heard from from Joe Rosa, this was a new committee that hadn't been established yet. So I thought we were appointing for the first
The
time.
committee had been established, but the members hadn't been appointed. I believe these are the first appointees, but you already did this several months ago. Yes.
Yep.
I was right.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. And Dr. Quinn, if you could check out with lines on your way out, that'd be great. Mayor Verger, on the next batch, do you want to go for the City Hall Restoration Commission as a group?
Yes, so we have with us tonight, we have Maggie Rosa. We have somebody named Kelly Verga at home. I don't know if Janice Bell if Jan is online, but Jan has been on the committee since its inception.
Yep.
Back in, I guess, the early 2000s. But, you know, they've done great work here. They saw us through the tilting tower, and we're trying to find a simple $23 million to do some more work here with fire suppression, et cetera. But I appreciate the time they put in for the last couple of decades.
Excellent, thank you, Mayor Verga. So this is going to be a consent agenda for Janice Bell, Margaret Rosa, and Kelly Verga, for their terms to all expire on 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second. Thank you. So the motion's been made and seconded. I just want to thank the committee. It's one of those positions that doesn't get much attention. There's not a lot of flair to the preservation of City Hall. There's not a lot of news, right? We don't want news about City Hall restoration in terms of emergencies or anything like that. But I commend Maggie. I know you're here. I don't see your other compatriots here, but I just want to give you credit for how hard this work is, and you continuing to represent the needs for this building. It's critical. Thank you.
Excellent. With that being said, welcome Kelly, I'll say that. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next up, Mayor Berger is the City-Owned Cemeteries Advisory Committee.
All right, we have up for reappointment Sandy Barry and Cindy Williams, and the City-Owned Cemeteries Advisory Committee, though it's not a high profile such as the Board of Health or the Planning Board, they do quite a bit of work, as you've read in the paper, a couple articles over the last couple of years. I live next door to a little cemetery, the Bray Cemetery, and they have overseen a lot of restoration there, stones being fixed, being cleaned, tours, and they're doing it throughout the city to our historic cemeteries. And they also have oversight of our active cemeteries. So I thank them for the work that they do day in and day out. And just a reminder, again, these are all volunteers.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor. So again, this is going to be on a consent agenda, all terms to expire 2/16/2028, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. So next up, we have some individual ones here first. We have Linda Brayton for the Clean Energy Commission.
Yeah, I don't see Linda in the room. I'm not sure if she's online, but please.
That's not an issue. Linda's
Yep.
well known to us.
Right.
and
It's
Her work is fantastic.
She's been there quite a few years. So I thank Linda for the work she does and for what the commission does as a whole.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Berger. So this will be to recommend the City Council reappoint Linda Brayton to the Clean Energy Commission term to end 2/16/27, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, excellent. Next up, the Committee for the Arts. Do we have Rebecca Nagel?
Great. So you'll recall that when I first came into office, I think there was one member of the Committee for the Arts left, and their term was going to expire a month later. It got here on January 1st, and mid-February, their term was up. So we reconstituted it. One of the things I tried to do is get more of the art disciplines in there. You know, we've got musicians, we've got people from theater, we've got people with a background in sculpture, with background in paint. And Rebecca is a great fit to the committee. They, as a whole, you recall, they did that great work with the arts inventory, which is available online, folks. All this art you see around City Hall and all of our city-owned buildings is now in one concise location. But thank you to Rebecca and the committee as a whole for all that work.
Excellent. With that being said, I move to recommend the City Council reappoint Rebecca Nagel to the Committee for the Arts, term to end 2/15/2029, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, excellent. Next up, we have William Cuff from the Community Preservation Committee, and then we have Rob Gullah from the Community Preservation Committee. I know Rob is here. Is William here? All right, do you?
So I'll just say real quickly, as we did the appointment of Kate a short while ago, she's serving as an official appointee from the Ordinance, from the Open Space Recreation Committee. Rob is going to be representing the Conservation Commission, and Bill is an at-large member. So you guys are familiar with their work. They just went through BNF a few weeks ago. We can have them come up and say a few words.
They're here. Might as well have them come up and give us. You can even do it as a team. If you guys want to tap dance, we'll give you a magic hat and a little rabbit.
Well, I don't know. I'm here for.
Bill Cuff, I've been, this is going for my reappointment. I've been on the Community Preservation Committee now for 3.5 years because I stepped in and did an unexpired term. I currently serve as the vice chair. And we have a great group of people I work with, 9 wonderful individuals. And I want to thank all the support the BNF has given us and the entire city council. You guys do a lot of, you people do all the work in the city. But it's great for us to be able to help support you and give you the information you need to make the decisions.
Excellent. I love your sweatshirt, and it was a tough day yesterday.
It was a tough day.
It was a tough day.
Good run.
Yes, it was. They played a great year. Any questions from Councilor Worthley?
Not questions. I just want to commend you, Bill. I feel like I know the city really well. And then the Community Preservation Committee brings something forward that I had no idea about. And you do your homework. You make our job a lot easier. Everything is vetted fully and completely. You keep track of every penny. And I know you work very closely with our auditor to accomplish that, but you bring a lot to the table. And I want you to know that I appreciate it and that the committee does, and I'm sure this committee does as well. Thank you.
Councilman Majota?
I just want to say thank you for, your committee, your commitment to the city. And I think our chair, stole the thunder with the sweater. So I just want apologies for Notre Dame. I was rooting for them as well.
Rob Gullah.
Yeah, I don't know what else to add to that. Rob Gullah, so I'm here for basically community preservation. I'm also chair of conservation on the other side. I was kind of dragged in to CPC because of the lack of certain members. And we had to adjust accordingly, and it couldn't be a better group of people. I'm still learning. CPC is a really complex structure. It's about not giving money away, but finances, as you said. Bill does a spectacular job. But as a group, I've learned a tremendous amount, and I look forward to the next few years.
Excellent. Councilman Majota?
I have nothing. I was just getting the mic ready to say second or move.
Council Worthley?
Oh, we're doing two. Did we already approve?
We're going to do that as.
I got it.
Okay. No, I got it.
Bob, thank you as well for stepping up and serving on this committee. Thank you. Make it double.
Rob, you've done a great job for the city. Thank you very much. I appreciate all you do. So that being said, I'd like to move to recommend William Cuff and Rob Geller to the Community Preservation Committee, term to end 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Excellent. The ayes have it. Thank you, guys. Next up, we have from the Conservation Commission, we have three appointments. Mayor Burke.
So I'll read off the names. If you could just raise your hand so they can see who you are. Andrew Jackson, not with us tonight, online perhaps? Okay, it's a reappointment. Peter Fatera. So we're going to get he's suffering from a cold, so we want to get him out of here real quick. And Dave Sargent. So as you are well aware, this is a regulatory board, the Conservation Commission. They have a very important job. And again, these are all volunteers. So I want to thank them all for being willing to step up for a reappointment.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Verga. So again, we're going to read this as a consent agenda for Joe Jackson, Dave Sargent, and Peter Mateer. Move to recommend the City Council reappoint them to the Conservation Commission, term to end 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The full council will see you on Tuesday, and if you could check with Lynn's on the way out, that'd be great. And thank you all very much. Lines. Sorry. I'll get it right, man. All right. So next up on Council on Aging, we have Elizabeth Monroe.
All right. So Betty Monroe, as I mentioned, the great work that the Council on Aging does. Betty joined, I think, about 2 years ago or so, 3 years ago or so. And I appreciate her willingness to step forward and to stand for reappointment. And I thank the entire Council on Aging for all their great work.
Excellent. Elizabeth, do you want to come up and say something, or you move pretty quick, don't you?
Just want to say it's
staying
a
young.
privilege to be a part of the Council on Aging. I'll reiterate what Elise said earlier, that it's a very vibrant place. It's very active. There's lots of great activities down there for the seniors, and it's really a fun place to be. That's all I can say, and I've just had a great time.
Excellent. Thank you. Councilor Majota, do you have any questions or comments?
Just comments. I don't know how many positive things I could say. Seeing you, I feel like weekly, and then working with the senior center. You're just doing excellent, amazing work down there. There's not enough positive words to say. Seeing the people talking to the elder, it's really just amazing. So thank you for your time volunteering. It's,
So lucky I get to see you like once a month when we do the mobile market from Open Door. And we have anywhere between 150 to 180 senior citizens that show up every month for food that's brought over from the Open Door. It's just it's a great place.
thank you.
Council Worthley.
Was it Betty? Is that you go by first Elizabeth, right? If there couldn't have been I can't think of a better advertisement for the vibrancy at the senior center by how fast you ran to the podium. Maybe because it's so cold in here, you wanted to get home and warm up, but I still appreciate, and you would be literally the poster child for living life and living young and revitalizing. So I just give you credit and I thank you for your service and your continued service. So I look forward to recommending your appointment. Thank you. Thank you, Betty.
Betty, again, the Senior Center Council on Aging. I couldn't have been happier to watch you jump up and sprint and run through the chairs and come up here with so much enthusiasm and excitement. Thank you.
It is a fun place, so
The city is very lucky to have you.
thank you.
With that being said, I'll pass this off to Councilor Worthley.
Thank you. Committee recommendation, move to recommend the city council reappoint Elizabeth Monroe to the Council on Staying Young, the Council on Aging, term to expire 2/16/2028, and I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
Before we move on, Counselor, if I could, back to what Jeff said earlier, if you guys could pass the word, spread the gospel of the senior center. There's a lot going on there. Live music often. There's art. There are art classes. There are computer classes. You know, and I think we actually, yeah.
Is there yoga there too, I think?
Yoga. There's Betty is the perfect ambassador for the senior center. But definitely, there are a lot of people who may be chronologically old, but you go in that place and you don't really feel that.
Well, Betty's not old. Look at her.
And she's only 26. I mean, yeah, she's waiting for dinner, so let's get her sworn in right away.
All righty, so next up for the Historic District Commission, we have Arlie Pett. I don't see Arlie. He is, oh, there he is.
Yeah, why don't we, I'll let him come up and talk if through the chair.
Of course. I'm sorry I missed you, Arlie.
Okay, Arlie Pett. What would you like me to?
Just give us a little bit about yourself. We all know, but.
I'm a property owner within the district. That's what my appointment is, as a property owner. I've been a member on and off the commission since it was established in the 1970s. I've been the chairman a number of times, and I'm currently the chairman of the commission. And we do 15 to 20 applications a year, properties, to maintain the integrity of the historic district within the city. This year we did 3 major ones. We dealt with 20 Main Street, the YMCA building, and the Soy Free Library.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Arlie. We'll start with Councilor Worthley. Do you have any questions or comments?
Arlie, you've always had my respect. You probably forgot more things than I know about the city. I think I know a lot, but then I learn and listen to you and learn something else. I'm impressed that you're still making a positive difference in our community and fully support you. Thank you.
Councilor Majota.
You have my support 100%.
Arlie, I've had the pleasure of knowing you for like 45 years. It's a long time for me.
5 years old.
You've been working in the community in many aspects of it, helping people, working with the voters, working with the veterans. There's not too many things that your family hasn't been involved with over the last 100 years in the city of Gloucester. And to see you keep doing stuff and working on things that are such importance. I mean, your presence on Middle Street goes back forever. That's why I believe it's your dad's doctor's office was, right?
It's been in our family since late 1940s.
Yes. So you're in the perfect position for this, and I couldn't be more happier to support you tonight. And with that being said,
Committee recommendation. I move to recommend that the City Council reappoint Arlie Pett to the Historic District Commission, term to expire 2/16/28, sorry, 2/16/2028, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Arlie, if you could just check in with lines on the way out, and we'll see you on next Tuesday. Thank you. Next up, Mayor Verger. We have the Human Rights Commission. We have Tony Borge and Micaiah McCaffrey.
Yes, is Micaiah here or? Okay, so this is a reappointment, so.
Yeah, they're both, yes.
So anyway, the Human Rights Commission, as you know, the commission was established, I think, in the 90s and sort of languished for decades. And it was, I think under Svathia, they actually put the board together, and they've worked on the anti-Semitism resolution. They're still working on that for the city council. They do have an important role to play in this world of ours, which has a lot of division and a lot of many of our within our city fall into populations that have issues that it's important that they have a voice, a sounding board they can go before. And so I'm proud of the work they do, and I'm proud to offer up Tony and Micaiah for reappointment.
Excellent. Tony, do you want to say a few words? I mean, you got all dressed up and bundled. You might as well speak.
Thank you. Whoops. Yeah, I'm Tony Borge. I'm born and raised here in Gloucester. I'm with on Wheelers Point, the house that my father left to me, my siblings.
I'm sorry, it's hard for us to hear with a
Oh, I'm sorry.
heat on behind us.
Yeah.
Because of fan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
Born and raised in Gloucester, and I happen to be fortunate and live in the house that my father bought on Wheelers Point in 1959. I have served as a Peace Corps volunteer. I worked for the Peace Corps, and then when I returned back to Gloucester, worked for Bunker Hill Community College as the director of adult education, and I'm now retired. I was first appointed to the Human Rights Commission when Mayor Stankin revitalized the Human Rights Commission, and there's been some changes to it because the original ordinance did not really meet the issues, but we worked with Suzanne Egan to make it a more educational response. But as what Mayor Verga said, is that we know that just like Gloucester has had so many different groups of people coming in, we're seeing a number of different communities, the Latino community, the Brazilian community, Haitians and others, where they not knowing much about their rights, and the Human Rights Commission serves as education and support to the committees.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tony. We'll start with Councilor Worsley. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, Tony, thank you for your hard work. I know it's not always easy work, and I know that there's a role, sort of almost adjudicating role, if there are complaints that are brought to your board. And luckily, you haven't had lots of those yet, and let's hope you don't.
Yeah.
But I appreciate how hard that work can be, too. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilor Worsley. Councilor Majota.
I just want to say thank you for your services, stepping up for the community. Appreciate your hard work, and thank you for what you and your committee does.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to be able to do so.
Tony, I just want to say that it's a wonderful committee. A lot of cities don't have this type of commission. It's up and coming. We've been on the front of this, not as soon as we should have been, but bringing out what's going on in the world and how people should be treated is certainly top priority for me. Every person's an individual, and they want to live their life the way they feel that they should be living their life, and that should be their right to feel comfortable without anybody saying or doing anything negative toward it. So thank you. Thank you for all your work.
And in turn, it's really a statement reflects the city's commitment in support of their residents in the communities.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony. We're just going to read your motion.
Committee recommendation. I move to recommend that the City Council reappoint Tony Borge to the Human Rights Commission, term to expire 2/16/2028, and I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so the ayes have it. If you could just check with lines on the way out, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the planning board.
Oh, did you do a motion for Micaiah?
Oh, no, we didn't. We'll do that right now. Move to recommend the city council reappoint Micaiah McCaffrey to the Human Rights Commission, term to end 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate that. So next up on the planning board, we have Jane Remsen.
Right. A few minutes ago, I talked about some of these less known boards like cemetery-owned committees, but they do important work. This is also another committee that does important work that's not so lesser known. The planning board is one of the most, probably in recent years, one of the most high-profile boards we have in the city. And I appreciate all the work that they've done in the 3 years I've been here, especially as it relates to the 3A zoning. But Jane has been a member for a while, and I'm proud to put her forward for another appointment.
Excellent.
She might be online.
I don't know if she's online or not. My computer died.
That's okay. I mean,
I have no problem with reappointing her. So I'll read the motion. Move to recommend the city council reappoint Jane Remsen to the planning board, term to end 2/16/2028, and I so move.
I think it's 2030 on the
it's a 5-year,
2030.
it's a 5-year term.
Yeah, 2030.
second. Speak on it.
Yes.
I just want to make a comment. And if she's online, maybe she hears it now or later. Jane, being on the planning board is a hard position. No one makes friends when you're on the planning board. You say no to lots of people. You have to continue something. It means it costs someone more money, and they're never happy. And that also means if you say yes to someone, then the neighborhood might not always be happy. So it's not an easy position. I give you credit. She and I have not always agreed on everything, but she's been respectful and has been a good liaison to me. And we communicate very regularly and effectively. So I give her a lot of credit, and I wish her well.
Excellent. That being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Jane. The next up, Mayor Verga, we have Francina for the Shellfish Advisory Commission.
I don't believe she is with us, but this is a reappointment.
No, she's also known to us.
Yep. So I'm happy to put her forward, Francina Manel Samard, for reappointment to the Shellfish Advisory Committee.
Excellent. So I move to recommend the city council reappoint Francina Manel Samard to the Shellfish Advisory Committee, term to expire 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so Francis is all set. The next person we have up is Robert Ryan from the Traffic Commission.
I think the man can speak for himself. Bob Ryan's been on the Traffic Commission for 35 years, and currently the chair, longtime chair, and I am very happy to put him forward for reappointment, but I'll let Bob speak for himself.
Excellent. Come on up. You're the next contestant on the council is never right.
Never?
Good evening, councilors. My name is Bob Ryan, Gloucester native, born and raised on Warner Street. 5 children, 13 grandchildren. I looked up on the wall and I go back to 9 mayors. I started in 1978 with Leo Elper. And one of my success stories that I'm very proud of, I started out on the Historic Commission. And on the Historic Commission was Peter Anastas and Joe Gibbs and myself. Mayor Elper went to the Forbes School. It became a Gloucester annex. And he wanted to tear down the building next door to it on the corner of Gould and Washington Street. And we had to go nose to nose with the mayor at that time, saying the building was built in 1851. It belonged to the GAR, Grand Army of the Republic, and you're not taking that building out and putting in a parking lot. So as it stands today, years later, the city has utilized it since 1978. It's Action Energy today, and they still utilize that place today. The annex for the city, the Board of Health at that time, and the building inspector only lasted about 3 years here, and they left. we would have taken that building down and destroyed a wonderful piece of history. Anyway, I've served this great city for over 45 years. It's given me great pleasure. I enjoy every minute of it. I've served in, Elise talked on it earlier, in the mayor, over 27 years with the Friends of the Council on Aging, 15 years with the Addison Gilbert Citizens Fund, and over 25 years with the Fish Box Derby. I'm very happy at this time. We just filled the commission. We'll have 7 members, 1 from the fire department, 1 from the police department, 1 from the DPW, and 4 city residents. I'm tickled pink about Emily Tar Oliver. I think they're all going to do a wonderful job, and I look forward to it. Again, it gives me great pleasure to continue serving, but I want to make one final note. I will yield 18 of my 78 years to Councilor Worthley so he can get into the senior center. Anyway,
work that way.
all right, on a serious note, again, I enjoyed. I want to give back to the city of Gloucester what the city of Gloucester has given me. And I apologize for my hat. I'm covering 18 stitches on my forehead.
That's 1 stitch for every year that you're going to.
Exactly, that I will yield. That's a purpose. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We'll start with Councilor Worthley.
Yes. First, Bob, I'm honored to call you a friend, but I'm alive in part because Bob Ryan was my bus driver back in high school. I think that's when we met. And you got us home safely every single day. And that was the first year that CATA took over the bus service for the city. And I was in capable hands then and still in capable hands now in your role in the Traffic Commission. I appreciate that you recruited Emily Oliver. You've been a mentor to me. You've been a mentor to everybody that's served in the commission, and I know you'll be a mentor to her as well. The commission plays a very important role. I think that it's really unrecognized, maybe not recognized, but it doesn't have the fanfare that some of the other boards might have. But you make a significant difference in the public safety in terms of lines of sight, stop signs, intersections, one-ways, those sorts of things. And I feel really confident when I come before your commission that you'll be fair and that you look out for the best interest of the city at all times. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Councilor Majota.
Mr. Ryan, there's a lot of positive things we say. Thank you, one, for your years of service for the community. It does not go unnoticed. I think what Councilor Worthley just said and what Sean is going to say, there's a lot of positive things about you. It's been a pleasure to get to know you for these past 4 years as I started with the council. So thank you for your dedication, and I hope to be able to reappoint you in 2016-28 again, so we can do it for another 2 more years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to mention one more thing as far as background is concerned. I came out of college in 1969, worked for Mobil Oil for 10 years, came back to Gloucester in the Boston district. I worked for CATA for over 30 years. And the last 2 years, supposedly semi-retired, I worked for Beauport Ambulance and Limousine Service as a compliance. So I've always been in transportation.
Okay. Excellent. Bob, I've known of you about the same amount of time as Arlie Pett. You started to work at Tally's when I was 12 years old in that wonderful corner.
Yeah.
You may not have known me when I was younger, but I certainly knew who you were.
Yeah.
You've got a great grip on the city. I've never been denied an answer or a question or a detail or a speed study from you. You take your work very seriously. I still say that going in front of the Traffic Commission is one of the funnest times that you'll have as a counselor. It's very open, it's light, it's complete, it's to the T by truth, but there's a little bit of fun mixed in with it, and you have a great group of people. I mean, Larry Ingersoll was awesome. I mean, he's retired now. You Bertolino. There's so many aspects of the Traffic Commission that makes it enjoyable but legit. And anytime I've needed any advice or any type of information, you've been the man to give it to me, and I really appreciate your service to the city.
Thank you. Thank you.
I look forward to supporting you for as long as we can.
Okay.
So with that being said, Frank will read the motion.
Committee recommendation, move to recommend that the City Council reappoint Robert Ryan to the Traffic Commission, term ending 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bob, thank you very much. And if you just want to get sworn in by lines down there.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And then
Thank
we'll
you.
see you on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Mayor Verger, the last one up we have is for Waterways Board, Donna Crocker.
Okay, in your next meeting, there's 2, if not 3 more Waterways Board members, and we will be submitting to the council a list of vacancies after we've heard back from all the people who are up for reappointment. But there were a few positions, not Waterways, but other boards we never filled in the 3 years I've been here. So I'll be looking for the council to do some outreach to fill those positions. Donna has been on the board for 3 years. She's been chairing for the last 2. And, as we talked to the harbor master, has been a lot of changes within the harbor master's office itself and the board. I think a lot of positive changes. So I would invite the chair up to speak for herself.
Run.
Here we go. Last but not least.
I'm Donna Crocker, been in Gloucester since the early 80s, have been a boater. I moved here because of sailing, and I volunteer on the Waterways Board because I really care about the waterfront and the city. There is something going around. I just want to address it. I did speak with the other 2 counselors. I didn't know you'd be here tonight, so I made a mistake back in November, and I take responsibility for it. I don't have any excuses for it, and I would like to continue serving.
Excellent. Thank you, Donna. We'll start off with Councilor Majota. Do you have any questions?
I spoke to Donna, less than a week ago. I just, you stood up, you owned your action. And everyone makes mistakes. And so you have my support then, you have my support now. You've done great things with the waterway boards. You're not just paying attention to what needs to be happening today, but in the future. And I think that vision and your dedication to the city is very important. So you have my support.
Thank you.
Councilor Worthley.
Thank you. I appreciate that we hadn't talked about the mistake in November. I've heard about it. I didn't actually watch it. Do you want to use this opportunity to? I'm not familiar.
I own it, and I've, if it needs to come up, or right after it came up, I spoke with the mayor and said I will, step aside if that's what people want, and otherwise I would like to continue to volunteer my time with the Waterways Board.
I respect that. So there is one other thing I'd like to raise. Did you take the ethics
I did.
class? And I think one of the things they talk about in there is open meeting laws. Is that part of the training? Okay. So one of your members sent me an email. Maybe you're aware, maybe you're not. There was a confidential offer to the former harbor master to resign. And that was made on April 2nd. On April 4th, the email that I have here from you is an email to all of the members of the Waterways Board. And you talk about his termination, which he hadn't been terminated yet. And so it becomes a violation of his confidential personnel file. So that's a question mark. The second thing is any communication to all of your board members is a violation of open meeting laws. And so the issue in the meeting in November, I give you a pass on that. That's a mistake. That's nothing. But this is a violation of something that would be a violation. Are you aware of the email I'm referring to?
I am not, sorry.
Would you like me to read it?
I'm learning, this is my first.
Can I read it?
I think that this is something we shouldn't bring
When
up.
I reached out to the chair because of what was happening, because there was a lot of word going around town, what was going on, a lot of misinformation. Same thing when I reached out to the council president, when the city council was informed. I don't think it's an open meeting violation to send a letter to the board members. We could let the legal counsel speak to that.
Hard to read. I'll be happy to read it if that makes it clearer. So we know what we're all talking about.
I know
here.
which one we're talking about.
But Donna said she didn't know. It's just an email that goes to all the board members referring to an action that hadn't taken place yet, um, it's different than your letter that you sent to the council, because the mayor's office isn't subject to open meeting laws, but any multi-member body is subject to open meeting laws. So,
Counselor, if I made a mistake, again, it wasn't intentional. It's my first position with the city, volunteering so if, we can talk about it, but that wasn't my intention, and I didn't intentionally break any ethics rules.
okay, so the content of the email is secondary to the issue of open meeting law violation, right? Just an email that you send to the whole board, multi-member body from you is deliberation. You're literally asking them to keep their mouths shut, closed mouths about this issue. So that's one issue.
Point of order? Oh, sorry, hold on one
What
second.
Robert
I just,
rules-
I just,
what Robert rules
I
I
was just,
violated?
I
Just what
I
Robert's
just-
rules?
hold on one second, Council Worthy. I was polite all day. I don't
Yeah,
like.
no, we're good. What Robert
I
rules are you
just
following?
would like to hear Suzanne Egan, if she has anything to say. I want a professional opinion, if that's okay.
But
If
of course
that's
it's okay.
not,
It's not a
I
Robert
just-
rule. It's not a Robert rule of order. It's not a point of
I'm
order.
sorry, excuse me, as vice chair, I would like to have Susie Egan please speak.
Suzanne Egan, please.
Yes, I can address the issue of whether or not the chair sending an email
Right.
to members of the board is a violation of the open meeting law, and it is not. Chairs typically send out information to their board members. What is a violation of the open meeting law is for board members to deliberate outside of a duly noticed public meeting. I just wanted to clarify that, since there was some confusion about what the open meeting law is. And the open meeting law is a separate law than the state ethics law. So there's one statute that deals with this open meeting law, and there's one that's the state ethics. They're not combined.
All right, so Suzanne Egan, what you're saying is by giving information or stating an opinion or speaking to a group for a heads up is not an open meeting law violation, because they're not deliberating or going back and forth on what was said in the information.
Well, I would say that providing information is not to voice an opinion, to ask somebody to respond, to have a conversation outside of the open meeting law. That could be leaning towards it. So all I'm saying is that an email sending the board members information is not a violation of the open meeting law. It's the deliberation, it's the interaction that creates the violation.
All right, thank you, Suzanne. I'm
If I
happy
may
with that.
ask Suzanne another question.
You can ask her another question.
Would then the content of the email discussing his, quote, termination when he was being still offered the opportunity to resign, so it's, in my opinion, a violation of a confidential personnel matter, is that appropriate?
I can't speak to whether that is appropriate or not, because I wasn't aware of this email. I haven't seen it. It's something that was happening at the time. Whether or not that's a violation of the law or the open meeting law or state ethics, that doesn't appear to me to be a violation of either of those.
Excellent, thank you. With that being said, I'd like to call the vote.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. In order to me get Susan up here, Council Worthy did not like my point of order. What was the correct action to get Suzanne Egan up here to speak, to get clarification on what was going on?
Correctly, you should ask the chair to speak with Suzanne Egan, but the chair allowed that to happen, and also both. But the other option on the table is that I just called the vote. So there's no more discussion on this, and we're simply going to vote and move on.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I'll read the motion. Let's move the recommend the City Council reappoint Donna Crocker to the Waterways Board, term to expire 2/16/28, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
All right, so that passes 2-1, and we will see you on Tuesday night. And at that point, I'd like to take a recess for 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
also go? Tony, will you be joining us? Thank you. Slight change, our chair, Councilor Sean Nolan, needs to leave. So we will have Tony Gross, Council President, be joining us. And we call the meeting back to order. Number 2, memorandum from the General Counsel regarding amendments to the Fisheries Commission's special registration. Suzanne Egan.
Yes, thank you. So what's before you is a request for your approval of the special legislation that will essentially amend the home rule petition that exists right now, creating that Fisheries Commission. Right now, the Fisheries Commission is having a challenging time meeting a quorum because the number of members is so large. It's at 13. And so what the special legislation will do is to reduce that number to 7. It will also provide for 2 alternate members so that if they can't meet the quorum numbers by the regular members, those alternate members can step in so that the Fisheries Commission will be able to conduct its business. And it has a lot of the same provisions that are in existence in the special legislation as it currently is, which is that the chair and the vice chair are appointed or elected by a vote of the majority of the members of the commission. So the process is that city council votes to approve, the mayor then goes in. Also, obviously, he approves it too, since this is from his office, and then it will be submitted to the legislature for passage.
Thank you. Any councilor questions?
Yes, thank you, Suzanne. What action is being asked of the Ordinance Administration Committee tonight?
What is asked of the Ordinance Administration is to submit it to council with your approval.
Submit the act relative to Gloucester Fisheries Commission document that you provided? Is that
Special legislation that was submitted, yes.
okay? Again, I was
That's
asked.
the same special legislation that was before the state legislature back in 2015, I believe it was. So it is now and that was not acted on. I do not know why that wasn't acted on by the state legislature, but we're going to put that forward again to see if we can have the number of the Fisheries Commission reduced so that they'll be able to conduct their business in a more efficient manner.
Makes sense. I apologize. I was asked around 5 o'clock to fill in tonight, so I didn't have a chance to read this before we got here.
Any questions?
So basically, would this be a home rule petition we'd be asking for?
It is, yes. A special legislation is a home rule petition, exactly. The Fisheries Commission was established by home rule petition back in, and I believe it's 1947. It's been I could have that wrong.
56 I have here.
56, yep. 1956. The home rule petition has been amended a couple of times. This would be the most recent one just to reduce that membership.
Okay, so it's section 3 is what we're talking about here?
Do you have any?
Yes, that's the critical piece that's being amended.
Section
Yes.
3.
Section 3, which is to reduce the number of members and to have the 2 alternate members.
What will happen to the other members? They're not here. So
No,
sorry.
So right now, one of the problems is that we're having difficulty filling the membership. So this would be a new commission that would be appointed. I don't believe there even are 13 members right now, and so that's part of the problem.
Okay. Council, any other questions? Suzanne?
No, I was just going to say, I'm not exactly sure how many members that we have, but are on that right now, but I can find that out for you.
Thank you.
What would the motion read?
The motion would
'Cause
read that
do
the
we have that
council,
in front
I
of
have it right here.
You have one? Yeah, okay.
It's a long one, Jeff. If you want to read, whenever you want to stop, then I can just take over.
Okay. You could just say as provided, or I can read it.
yep, yes, you could,
Okay.
as shown on or as submitted.
That's what I'd like to do. So committee recommendation is that we recommend the city council vote to authorize the mayor to petition the general court for a special act substantially instead of as follows, as provided by the legal department of the city of Gloucester, and I so move.
Second. Motion's been read. Discussion?
Seems pretty straightforward. Thank you, Suzanne, for providing this and making it so I don't have to read the whole document. Appreciate it.
Council vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes, 3 in favor, 0 opposed. This is my first meeting I'm holding, so if there's any errors, I do apologize. I have 2 experts here to help me out. Motion number 3, Councilor Gross, would you like to read your?
I would like to read City Council Order number 2025-004 to amend Gloucester Code of Ordinance, Chapter 5, Building Regulations, Article 5, Short-Term Rentals, Section 5-66, Requirements for the Operation of Short-Term Rentals, subsection E. And I so move. No?
No,
It's not a motion.
You're just inform us what it is. What are you trying to do?
Talk about it.
You can talk about it.
Very good. So this is just an oversight that people who have a detached rental unit, but also have one within their home. So it's a shared rental unit where the person has to be present for it. So it doesn't do anything as far as, it has no adverse effect on housing in the city because that unit that's within the house serves, as the home as well as a short-term rental. So it has no impact on our housing inventory or the rental inventory or anything. So to punish people who have them within their home we're correcting that.
Swarthy?
Thank you, Councilor Gross. Just so I understand it correctly, if you are renting a unit in your home, it won't count against you in terms of the number of units you could own or operate. If you had a second unit that was outside your home, that's your one.
Correct.
Okay. And then one more question. We had a, forgive me if I don't remember the word, period of time where you could keep that one unit. Was it 3 years, I think we had? Sunset clause, forgive me.
What do you mean? For what?
Grandfathering, I think it was.
There was a 3-year period that's not on this, that's not in this section.
Right, so that one unit that you have that's not your home in this scenario would be grandfathered for 3 years?
They're registered with the state.
Okay. And then the one in their house has no regulation on it aside from regular building code?
It has all the other regulations. It doesn't have any limitations on the amount of days it can be rented.
Thank you. Appreciate the adjustment to this.
Thank you for clearing that up, Councilor Worthy and Gross, for putting this forward. Tony, would you like to read your recommendation?
Move to recommend that the City Council amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 5, Building and Regulations, Article 5, Short-Term Rentals, Section 5-66, Requirements for the Operation of Short-Term Rental, subsection E as follows. An operator may only register to operate one dwelling unit as a short-term rental. If an operator owns 2 or more properties, owns one and is listed as a manager or agent for a second that is owned by an LLC, for example, that operator must choose one or the other to be registered as a short-term rental. No operator shall have more than one legal or equitable title or beneficial trust in any dwelling unit used for short-term rental except delete as provided for above. Add an operator of a shared residential unit may register a second short-term rental unit. An operator may hire a company
a property management company to list and manage short-term rentals, but the registration must be in the operator's name, and I so move.
Second.
I think we've already, any discussion? We already did. Bring it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 4, CC number 2025-005, Wordley.
Me to speak up, just in general. So thank you, Councilor Majorda. Instead of getting the specifics of my proposed amendments, I'd like to consider something, and I appreciate, it's kind of timely too, Councilor Gross, you having an amendment to the ordinance that improved it a little bit. Thank you for offering that. I think that what we did was good, and I'd like to make sure that we have a very precise, Gloucester-specific ordinance that uses the data that we may be collecting with registrations and information we're going to get. And just want to make sure we're very specific and don't sweep up things that might be unintended. I think our short-term rental market really adds a lot of vitality and it really improves our visitor economy in ways that probably we would miss out on if we were to regulate this too strictly. We have an idea of how many people are registered with the state. We don't know if there's a larger number of people who are doing this that aren't registered with the state. And if those people are adding to our local economy the way I think that they are, and we set a limit at 500 before we even have the data, I feel like it's premature. What I would like to do, if this committee would so indulge me, is I would love to have, as we've done in the past, this committee to form, over a short period of time, an ad hoc committee to.
Would come under the full council under, not a subcommittee.
I always served as chair of plan development. Even before I was chair of plan development, we created the zoning ordinance review task force. And for 5 years, we continued to get recommendations from them that we move forward to the council. The ad hoc committee works at the behest of the standing committee. And then if there are recommendations from the ad hoc committee, this committee would take it up and bring them to the full council. The charter specifically says that each committee can create its own ad hoc committee, and it doesn't require council approval for that. So firstly, unless you want to look that up, the idea that this deserves a little more review, that's the first question. And to be.
You're talking about strictly your amendments.
Yes. And if for some reason, if in the ad hoc committee, which I would welcome you being part of if you'd like to, it's not mine to decide, it'd be the committee's decision, but ONA would decide, this ONA tonight would decide that we would have an ad hoc committee, and then ONA could pick who they want to serve on that committee. It'd be great to have a council liaison, members of the public, people in the industry, people on the housing side, just to flesh out. And if it comes back that none of my changes are worth any merit, then so be it.
I don't think that they're deep enough that we need to dive into having another ad hoc committee myself.
If it turns out the ad hoc committee says, but had you thought of this? Had you thought of that? That would be helpful too.
With that, in my opinion, with the chair of ONA unfortunately having to leave, I would really love to get his opinion, and I would love, in my opinion, to be able to postpone this until he is back, and also Marjorie Grace as well. So my recommendation will be to hopefully just move this to the next ONA meeting until our chair is here.
So maybe by that point, we can clarify the ad hoc committee question.
I'd like to move to postpone this through to the next ONA committee to be reviewed, not necessarily ad hoc, but in its own singular in itself.
I can.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
We have one matter to be continued, CC 2025-001 Benson, amend GCO Chapter 22, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22 through 273, parking prohibited between certain hours on certain days, continue to February 3rd, 2025.
Move to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for all those attending.
Be nice.
Thank you.